With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You are listening to the Cricket Corner podcast with me, Vatsal Vora. Hello, my name is Vatsal Vora. This is the Cricket Corner podcast where we discuss and talk about all things Indian cricket. And in this series of covering the T20 World Cup held in the United States and in the Caribbean, we have moved out of the group stages. Now we are going to talk about the Super 8s, which begin, I guess they begin in 3 days' time at the recording this podcast. At the time of recording this podcast, it is the Sunday, the 16th of June, and I don't think the Super 8s commence until Wednesday, if I'm not wrong. But the groups have finally started to take shape as far as the Super 8s are concerned. There is still a game week to go in Group D and Group C, but there is little or no competition left in those particular groups. So I felt like this is the ideal time to talk about the Super 8 stages. Whom will India face in those particular stages? Will they qualify for the semi-finals? Will they eventually make it to the finals and win the tournament for the first time since 2007? Well, only time can answer those questions, but I felt like since India's group Super 8 groups opponents are already decided apart from one, but we'll talk about who that one outsider is. But I felt like this is the ideal time to preview the Super 8s from the viewpoint of an Indian supporter. So for those of you who don't know, India have managed to play all 4 matches of their group stages. In Group A, they have won 3 of them. They have secured victories over United States, Pakistan and Ireland. Unfortunately, their game against Canada, which was scheduled to take place yesterday on the 15th of June, that game did not go ahead and was abandoned even before the coin toss, because it was played in Fort Lauderdale. There was a lot of showers. There's a lot of thunderstorm in the Florida region, and it was widely expected that game would not go ahead, and it did not go ahead as planned. So no worries as far as Team India are concerned. Despite them just picking up 1 point against Canada due to that abandoned game, they have still topped the table and have comfortably made it through to the Super 8 stages, where their opponents are as follows. As things stands, out of the 3 other teams to compete against India in that particular Super 8 group, only 2 of them have been finalized, those being Australia and Afghanistan. The 4th and the final team to be placed in this particular Super 8 group would be either Bangladesh or the Netherlands. Now, both sides are yet to play their final group match as things stand, but it is quite certain that it would be Bangladesh who qualify for the Super 8 stages and be part of the group which contains India, Afghanistan and Australia, because Bangladesh have their game against Nepal, whilst the Netherlands are up against Sri Lanka. So assuming Bangladesh win, they are through. If they lose to Nepal, then the Netherlands have to beat Sri Lanka by a very, very big margin to topple Bangladesh and qualify from that particular group, which is something I don't see happening. Firstly, I expect Bangladesh to beat Nepal, despite Nepal being a handful for the South Africans. I think lightning will not strike twice, and Nepal would be beaten by Bangladesh, and I expect Bangladesh to be part of that one. However, if by some miraculous conditions the Netherlands do indeed qualify, then this whole podcast will be redundant. But I am willing to take that risk. I wanted to upload a podcast on a Sunday, so here I am talking about the Super 8s. So interesting to say that Team India have got a few tough matches in this Super 8 stages. Yes, they had just one tricky game in Group A, which was against Pakistan. They did eventually topple their rivals, with relative ease. They had a bit wobble against the United States, but they overcome that wobble as well. And now we are into the business end of the tournament. As mentioned previously, it's Australia, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh who compete alongside India in the first group of the Super 8, that is. And from an outsider looking in, it feels like all three games could be tricky. For those of you who don't know, the Super 8s are basically two groups of 4 teams each, where the top 2 from both groups will qualify for the semi-finals and the finals eventually. So that's how the Super 8 works. But coming back to Team India's group alongside Afghanistan, Australia, and Bangladesh potentially, I think those 3 games could be really, really tricky. Now, from the outside, it feels like it is quite a foregone conclusion that India and Australia would make it through to the semi-finals from this particular Super 8 group, regardless of what position that is. It can be India first, it can be Australia first. That doesn't matter. But from the outside, it does feel like a pretty straightforward group for both Australia and India to come out of. But I'm not really sure that is the case. There can be an upset here and there. There can be a team like Afghanistan who can break into the top 2 and topple one of either Australia or India. Not saying it would be India, because that would be really, really unfortunate. But in the grand scheme of things, Afghanistan have played so good in the group stages that side cannot be taken lightly any longer. I think they are here on merit, and they deserve their shot against the big sides like India and Australia heading into the Super 8s. Let's start by talking about Afghanistan, shall we? Because they have had an excellent World Cup at this point in time. Yes, they are yet to play their final game against the West Indies, which is, I guess it is tomorrow. But it is on the 18th of June. I guess that's Indian time. Yeah, that's the Indian time. I guess they play on the 17th night in West Indies, so 18th in the UK or in India, wherever you are listening this. So as things stand, they have played 3 matches in the T20 World Cup so far, and they've won all 3 of them by big margin. They started their campaign with a victory over Uganda by 125 runs. Okay, that was kind of expected, but that second game, that big victory over New Zealand, is where they captured the imagination of the cricketing fraternity all over the world. They defeated a good New Zealand side by 84 runs in Guyana. Batting first, they posted 159 runs, and in reply, New Zealand were bundled out for just 75. And I think that was the game which was an eye-opener for everyone who are interested in this Cricket World Cup, that you cannot take Afghanistan lightly in this particular tournament because of I think it is the bowling which is really, really dangerous, particularly when the tournament is being played in West Indies, slower pitches, and in places like the St. Lucia, Guyana. There's obviously a bit of two-paced wicket in someone like Bridgetown in Barbados or in Antigua. So these are the kind of bowlers you really want, and I think Afghanistan have a good arsenal of good spinners, some really good fast bowlers who can bowl those cutters, those slower balls, and I think they are a force to reckon with. As I mentioned, the Afghanistan side are mainly being carried by their bowlers. So yeah, before I get off track. Let's come back to Afghanistan again. Their most recent victory was against Papua New Guinea. I think it was quite expected. They won by 7 wickets. They were excellent. They bundled Papua New Guinea out for just 95 runs. In reply, they did lost 3 wickets, but I think that is understandable when you want to chase down a target with as many less overs as possible, and I think they did it in 15 overs. They lost 3 wickets, but that doesn't matter because they have qualified for the group's second round, which is the Super 8s. As I've mentioned, it is mainly down to their bowlers, the reason why they have made it so far in this tournament. And some of the Afghanistan bowlers, the Indians know very well, because most of them apply their trades in the IPL and have become really, really well-known names and respected foreign players who play week in, week out in the 4 foreigners which are allowed in the IPL. That there are so many of them. There's likes of Rahmatullah Gurbaz, Noor Ahmed, there's Rashid Khan, obviously, Mohammad Nabi, Fazala Farooqi. There are some really, really good players. Mujibur Rahman has been under the shadows of Rashid Khan and other quality finger spinners. But I think the quality in their bowling is being supported by their somewhat good enough batting, and that is a perfect formula to win a tournament, in particular in a place like West Indies, where it is the bowlers who can give you the upper hand. And Afghanistan, right place at the right time. They are filled with quality bowlers, and they've come to play a tournament in conditions which require such quality bowlers, and I think they have a real chance of causing a few more upsets in the Super 8 stages. As mentioned before, it is their bowlers who are doing the hard work, putting in the hard work. As things stand in this particular tournament, Fazala Farooqi is the leading wicket taker in the T20 World Cup. He's played just 3 matches and he's picked up 12 wickets. He's partnered brilliantly by Rashid Khan. There is obviously Mohammad Nabi, who is chipping in with wickets as well. So there's a lot of quality in this Afghanistan squad. And once you look at their bowling, you feel like, where are the runs going to come from? Even if one of them gets going, it is going to be really, really tricky for the opposition batters to come back into the game, because there are quality bowlers up and down the Afghanistan lineup. As I've already mentioned, there's Fazala Farooqi and Rashid Khan with the wickets, but you can never forget the likes of Naveenul Haq. As I mentioned, Noor Ahmed, Karim Jannat is capable of bowling a few overs here and there as well. So I think it's the combination of good spinners accompanied by good quicks which is helping Afghanistan to play the kind of cricket that they really want. It is complete contrast to how, let's say, someone like the England team does. England have quality quicks in the form of Mark Wood, Reece Topley and Jofra Archer, and those 3 are aided by the brilliance of Adil Rashid, or a part-timer in the form of Liam Livingstone, Will Jacks, or someone like Moeen Ali. As far as the Afghanistan team is concerned, it's the completely reverse situation. It's their strike bowlers, their primary bowlers are their spinners in the form of Nabi and Noor Ahmed and Rashid Khan. And they are the one aided really well by the likes of Naveenul Haq and Fazala Farooqi. Yes, Fazala Farooqi is the leading wicket taker, but it's the spinners which is creating those tricky situations for the opposition batter, and the likes of the quicks, the Afghan quicks are able to take an advantage of that situation. Now, yes, it's not just the bowlers which are winning games for Afghanistan. Obviously, you need batsmen to score runs or to chase down targets. This is where the likes of Rahmatullah Gurbaz come into play. Him and Ibrahim Zadran are a really good opening pair, and I think the amount of confidence someone like Rahmatullah Gurbaz has been receiving from the past 12 months has been exceptional. He's had a good T20 career, both in the form of wearing an Afghan shirt or franchise cricket. He's been excellent for the KKR side. He was called upon in the latter stages of the tournament when they actually won the whole thing. The likes of Ibrahim Zadran are always there. Azmadullah in the middle order, Mohammad Nabi coming down at number 5. It is something of a dream combination. They have got pinch hitters at the top and pinch hitters towards the lower order, and that is exactly how you are supposed to play T20 cricket. And I think Afghanistan have a very, very good situation where they can cause issues not only with the ball but with the bat as well. India need to be wary, because I think India versus Afghanistan would be India's first game in the Super 8 stages. The game will be played on the 20th of June, which is a Thursday, and it is being played at Bridgetown, Barbados, so a pitch that can be tricky for the batsmen when they are facing quality spinners. The next team which I wanted to talk about is Australia, because India and Australia on the big world stage has been inevitable for the past 12 months. It is almost exactly a year ago when the two sides played each other for the first time in quite some time on a grand stage, which was the World Test Championship final at the Oval in 2023, and Australia won that particular tournament. And famously or infamously, Pat Cummins and Australia did defeat huge favourites India in the 50 over World Cup final in Ahmedabad back in late 2023. So revenge would certainly be on the minds of Rohit Sharma, the Indian management, and the Indian fans in particular. However, this team is so different when you look at the 50 over side. There is obviously some notable exclusions from that particular team. There is no Steve Smith, there is no Manas Labuschagne. I think Cameron Green barely gets a game. So it is a team which is quite different, but on the other side, you can also argue that the main players are still the same. You still have David Warner, you still have Travis Head, there's obviously Glenn Maxwell, Marcus Stoinis, Tim David can come into the game as well, and obviously you cannot escape their quality fast bowling in the form of Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood, Mitchell Starc, and obviously aided brilliantly by Adam Zampa. When necessary, they can also call upon someone like Ashton Agar, or even Nathan Ellis is there on the bench. So it's a quality side, and they are the ones I am really afraid of. But on the other hand, I'm really looking forward to facing this Australian T20 side. If for anyone of you who don't know, it is Mitchell Marsh who leads this T20 side and not Pat Cummins, but it doesn't matter because they still have excellent quality up and down the order, that even a change in captaincy doesn't make a huge difference. They come into the Super 8 stages on the back of 4 consecutive wins. They are the side which have not lost a single match. You can say that same for India as well, but India did not manage to pick the full quota of 8 points because of that one washout game against Canada. Fortunately, should I say, for the Australians, that has not been the case. They have been given a chance to play all 4 oppositions in the group, and they have beaten all of them. They started with a 39-run victory over Oman. Then they defeated their arch rivals England by 36 runs, and whilst chasing, they defeated Namibia by 9 wickets, and most recently Scotland by 5 wickets only yesterday. Their contributions have been coming from all over the batting and the bowling lineup, should I say. When you look at all 4 of Australia's game, you can find out how many different players have contributed with the bat and with the ball. Like in the opening game against Oman, it was a very good knock by someone like David Warner, and a really good cameo down the order by someone like Marcus Stoinis. There's obviously wickets shared amongst many bowlers. Starc picking up 2, Nathan Ellis picking up 2, Stoinis picked up 3 wickets on that particular occasion as well. Against England, it was yet another different story. They had different match winners on that particular occasion. It was a contribution from the likes of Mitchell Marsh. Travis Head got back into the form. Stoinis has been good with the bat. And in bowling, it was Adam Zampa who was just excellent with the ball. He picked up 2 wickets and conceded just 28 runs. Pat Cummins chipped in with 2 wickets as well on that particular occasion. Then they faced Namibia, and then again you have contributions from the likes of Hazelwood now chipping in with wickets, Zampa continuing his good form, he picked up 4 wickets, Stoinis has been excellent with the ball and with the bat, again chipping in with 2 wickets, and then against Scotland, when Travis Head had an iffy tournament to say the least, comes out and scores magnificent 68 of just 49 deliveries, and once again lower down the order it was Marcus Stoinis. So as mentioned, there have been so many different match winners for Australia, and that is what makes Australia in a way, that they don't rely on just one player to come good all the time. Travis Head has been scoring runs. Marcus Stoinis has been scoring runs. He's picking wickets as well. David Warner is chipping in with runs. Mitchell Marsh can chip with runs. And in the as far as the bowling side is concerned, they rely on all sorts of players. Adam Zampa is the one who leads the attack on spinny, tricky wickets. But when there's a little bit of seam and swing in offer, the likes of Mitchell Starc come into the game. Hazelwood's picking up wickets. Cummins is picking up wickets. So you can see match winners up and down that team, and I think that is the reason why everyone fears Australia. Yes, they don't have that one big name, let's say like India have in the form of Virat Kohli, like Pakistan have in the form of Babar Azam, even though he's not been in the best of the forms. It's very different if you look at Australia in that regard, and I feel like that is their key strength. All 11 players are capable of winning them a game at some point or the other point in time in this particular tournament, and I feel that is going to be one tricky game as far as India are concerned. So India, when do they face Australia? I think the game against Australia is in 4 days' time. The game against Afghanistan is on the 20th of June. On the 24th, they play Australia, and that game would be played at the Darren Sammy National Cricket Stadium. So that is in St. Lucia. Coming to the last team which India could face in the Super 8 stages, and that is Bangladesh. Now, as I've mentioned in this podcast already, Bangladesh are yet to officially qualify for the Super 8 stages, but it seems quite likely that they would be the one to join Australia, India and Afghanistan in the first group of the Super 8 stage. That is the reason why I've kept them until the last, because we are still not 100% certain that it would be Bangladesh to play alongside these 3 teams, but it is quite likely. So might as well talk about Bangladesh as well. As things stand, they are second in Group D behind South Africa, already qualified. There is no chance for Nepal or Sri Lanka to qualify, which means that it's between Bangladesh and Netherlands. Before the two sides' respective matches, Bangladesh have a positive net run rate of 0.4, while the Netherlands have minus 0.4. And there's 2 points separating the two sides. So as mentioned, Netherlands need a big win against Sri Lanka, and then have to back Nepal to beat Bangladesh. So lot of permutation combinations, nothing in the hands of Netherlands, everything to play for Bangladesh. A win guarantees them, even a loss, but a close win or a defeat for the Netherlands would make sure that they qualify as well. Similar to Afghanistan, the Bangladeshi side also relies very heavily on their bowlers, and particularly their spinners, should I say. And I think the surprise package to come out of this particular Bangladeshi squad is a 21-year-old leg spinner in the form of Rishabh Hussain. The 21-year-old has picked up 6 wickets in this particular tournament, and he's averaging just 9. That is unheard of for a young spinner like this. And when you have experienced quality bowlers in the form of Shakibul Hasan, Tashkeen Ahmed, and Mustafizur Rahman, this young kid has shown brightly over all of them, and that is probably one of the stories which has gone unnoticed as far as this particular T20 World Cup is concerned. But as I mentioned, I like how Afghanistan really have good quality bowlers. Bangladesh don't really have bowlers of that particular caliber, but they have good enough quality both in the form of fast bowlers and in the form of spinners, which can aid in this tricky, sluggish conditions. As I've already mentioned, Rishad Hussain is bowling really well. Shakib Hassan has not had the best tournaments with the ball, but he's still bowling 2 to 3 or sometimes 4 overs in this particular tournament, so he can never be discarded as a threat. There's Tashkeen Ahmed is picking up wickets, and Mustafizur Rahman is having a good couple of months leading up to the T20 World Cup. He was excellent for the Chennai Super Kings in the early stages of the 2024 Indian Premier League, and I think he's carrying this form in this particular tournament heading into the Super 8 stages. But as far as the Bangladesh batting is concerned, I don't see one particular standout player who is shown. Tawhid Hridoy has scored 40 of 20 deliveries in their victory over Sri Lanka. Liton Das is always there amongst the runs, but who else has contributed with the bat? Let me just have a look, because no standout let me just rephrase my question. No Bangladeshi batsman has really stood out, and that is not something I want to shy away from and disregard the Bangladeshi batters, but it is their bowling who has really taken the ascendancy in this particular tournament. In their most recent victory against the Netherlands, it was Shakib Hassan who scored 64 or 46 deliveries, so he can never be discounted as well. And I think the quality of their bowlers and how well their batters are able to come in, score a few runs, leave, come in, score a few runs, leave, and that is something which might see Bangladesh qualify for the Super 8 stages as well. So yeah, that is it from me. This was a quick episode covering the 3 sides which India will be facing in the Super 8s. I particularly think India shouldn't have any problems, and I back them to win all 3 matches and qualify for the semi-finals. For those of you who are interested, the Super 8s has the second group as well, and in that particular group we have all 4 teams confirmed. So it will be South Africa, West Indies, United States and England. So India could have a realistic chance of facing either, let's say, a West Indies or England in the semi-final, and I think they might just face Australia in the final again, but I think that is looking way ahead into the future. Let's just focus on the Super 8 stages at the moment and wish India all the best. I hope they really come good. There are banana skins all along the Super 8 stages. As I've already mentioned, you cannot disregard Afghanistan. They are here on merit. You can never discount Australia when it's an ICC tournament, and Bangladesh are notorious for causing upsets here, there and everywhere. So I think India need to be wary about how they play their cricket in this Super 8 stages. They are out of America now, so they'll be playing at proper cricketing pitches now, so that is out of the way, that excuse is out of the way. So the real tournament begins now for Team India. That is it from me, Vatsal Vora. I hope you enjoyed this podcast previewing, the Super 8s ahead of the business end of the tournament. If you are watching this on YouTube, then make sure you are liking, sharing and subscribing. If you are listening this on Spotify or Apple Podcast, then make sure you are giving me those wonderful 5-star ratings, should you think I deserve them. However, for the time being, this is me signing off. Ciao for now.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.